From committing fraud to making plain old dumb mistakes, we take a look through 10 billionaires who lost all of their money. Number 10. Sean Quinn. This Irish businessman was the richest person in Ireland back in 2008, with a net worth of $6 billion. However, a single bad decision brought him down to his knees in 2011. Quinn invested 25% of his family's wealth in the Anglo-Irish Bank, about $2.8 billion, and made the grave mistake of borrowing the money from his own insurance company. So, during the recession, Anglo-Irish Bank collapsed, and with it, Quinn, as he was submerged in waves of debt he could not pay. Number 9. Alberto Villar. Alberto Villar is an American former billionaire who at one time was worth more than $1 billion back in 2001. He was famous for his opera, performing arts organizations, and many educational institutes. It's even claimed that he gave nearly $250 million to these arts. However, he lost his entire fortune when the tech bubble burst. Through his investment firm, Villar had been laundering money in addition to participating in securities fraud, mail and wire fraud, and investment advisor fraud. This businessman is now serving a 10-year jail term for money laundering and numerous other frauds. Alberto has clearly lost his wealth, his freedom, and the trust that people placed on him as a financial advisor. Number 8. Björn Goldfer Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson was a former football player that made a very good deal of money in the beverage business. Most of the money he made was as chairperson and owner of both the West Ham United Football Club and the Icelandic bank Landsbanki. He was the second person in Iceland's history to hit billionaire status. Unfortunately, the Icelandic banking crisis in 2008 hurt a lot of wealthy men and women in the banking business. He also had a number of bookkeeping offenses that cost him a considerable amount of money to fight in the courts. Forbes magazine listed Gudmundsson as one of the richest people in the world in March of 2008, and then valued him with a net worth of $0 by December of the same year. Number 7. Patricia Kluge. Patricia Kluge is not an entrepreneur. She wound up controlling a hefty sum of money through marriage, and of course, divorce. During the 1960s in London, Kluge was working as a model and adult columnist when she met and later married John Werner Kluge, her second husband. The marriage lasted from 1981 to 1990, during a time when John Werner was the richest person in the United States. Kluge received $1 billion as the result of her divorce from Werner, and an additional $1 million each year in alimony. Kluge decided to invest the majority of this money into a vineyard, which was initially a success. However, Kluge tried to expand her wine business too quickly, and it ended up costing her millions. When the company wasn't meeting her revenue expectations, Kluge had to file for bankruptcy and sell her precious vineyard to none other than Donald Trump. Number 6. Sam Wiley. Sam Wiley is an American businessman based in Dallas who employed tens of thousands of employees and made billions for the people who invested into his restaurant, retail, and tech companies. Sam, together with his brother Charles, bought ranches and mansions in Aspen, set up offshore trusts that would pay them millions for the rest of their lives, and even made charitable donations of over $67 million. At the peak of his career, Forbes estimated Sam's wealth to be in the region of $1.1 billion. Today, Sam Wiley is bankrupt because the IRS is after him for millions in unpaid taxes. He owes the Securities and Exchange Commission millions because of hiding stock trades in offshore accounts. And he also has to pay his wife hefty sums annually after their divorce. Number 5. Anton Schlecker. Anton Schlecker is, or was, a big name in Germany because this businessman is the founder and the owner of the former billion-dollar Schlecker drugstore chain. Anton was once a butcher's apprentice before building his drugstore chain that had a turnover of approximately $10.3 billion, making him one of the richest people in not only Germany, but in the whole world. This billionaire set up over 13,000 drugstores all over Europe by 2003 and employed over 52,000 workers. But his empire slowly started to crumble due to competition from other companies and a changing business climate. In January of 2012, Anton Schlecker lost everything when he filed for bankruptcy, and all his drugstores were eventually sold off to receivers. Number 4. Robert Allen Stanford. This self-made billionaire is a citizen of both the United States and Antigua, which gave him the opportunity to support politicians in both countries. He had a net worth of $2 billion in 2012, But his wealth was lost when an investigation took place. He was convicted of 13 counts, including conspiracy and fraud, where it was believed that he had stolen at least $7 billion from investors. He is now serving a 110-year prison term. Number 3. Ike Batista. Ike was once the richest person in Brazil. Born in Brazil but moved to Germany, Ike began to study metallurgical engineering at the University of Aachen, and from there, everything changed. When he turned 57, everything went downhill. His oil firm company, OGX, filed for bankruptcy. His other company, OSX, was the company that builds ships and supplies other companies with platforms and ships. When that company was set up to supply several companies, it fell into bankruptcy because of its heavy debts. After he was forced to give up everything, and a result of his bad credit decisions, Batista's net worth had fallen dramatically until it reached the bottom. In 2014, his net worth was estimated to be 0. Number 2. Jordan Belfort. The man portrayed in the 2013 smash hit movie The Wolf of Wall Street by Leonardo DiCaprio. Jordan Belfort earned more money in a year than 99% will ever see in their entire lives, seeing an amazing annual income of over $250 million in his early 20s. Compared to Alan Stanford's 110-year prison sentence, Mr. Belfort got off easy with only a 2-year term and a forfeiture of every single dollar and piece of property he had in his name. He's still, to this day, hundreds of millions of dollars in debt as a result of a court decision, but is slowly trying to repay that by doing inspirational speaking tours. Number 1. Adolf Merkel. The late Adolf Merkel was the 5th wealthiest man in Germany and one of the world's wealthiest people, with a net worth in 2008 approximated to be $9.2 billion. Like many other former billionaires on this list, Adolf Merkel made risky business decisions that quickly landed him in debt. When the time came for trustees to take over his company in January 2009, the 74-year-old committed suicide and truly lost everything. He stepped in front of a speeding train on that cold Monday morning, never to get a chance to regain his wealth.